What's going on, people? I know it's been a while. Um, Things have been hectic, work, personal shit. I haven't been posting a lot. I haven't been keeping up with things I've been trying to keep up with. Um, but for those of you who know that I'm a big wrestling fan. Those of you who are my friends, followers, subscribers, but whatever else, um, who are wrestling fans, you know, we heard about Windham Rotunda, also known as Bray Wyatt, who passed away on the 24th of August, which is Vince McMahon's birthday, that's crazy. Um, and then, of course, rest in peace, Terry Funk. But of course, you know, it's gonna kind of, we're very sad about Terry Funk, but this is more heartbreaking because you're talking about somebody that's only 36 years old. Back to back like that, it's just crazy. You have a legend who has done a lot for the business, Terry Funk, and my condolences and prayers to his family. But Bray Wyatt, Windham Rotunda, real name Windham Rotunda, this is devastating, of course, knowing that this man was only 36 years old. I turned 33 in September. You know what I'm saying? He 3.5 year difference, bro. Like, this is, it's heartbreaking. You know what I'm saying? My condolences to his family as well. It's heartbreaking because there's a lot of people I know who actually met him, and it sucks that I never got to meet him. Because as many of you know, who really, this is not throwing shade at nobody. This is just, of course, you have some people that think that I try to throw shade at some people who don't keep up with what I do. And as someone who works more than full time, I understand what it is not being able to keep up with everything. Okay? But for those of you who actually follow all my pages, like, again, thank you. But you can see that I have made an Instagram page, a TikTok page, a YouTube channel called the Wyatt Foundation, and that was inspired by Windham Rotunda, aka Bray Wyatt. I fell in love with the character, the story, not just the character. Well, the few characters the multiple characters that he had, it was just phenomenal. Like, to come up with something like that is just the level of creativity is amazing. Excuse me. It's just, in this guy inspired so many people to do their own version of of content. Like, people have done things like custom content inspired by Bray Wyatt. Like, I'm subscribed to a few people. I can't really, I forgot some of the names. I think one of them is And It Begins on YouTube. I'll try to find the channel. It was something like that. And the person has made custom videos. Some people have made custom things just inspired by Bray Wyatt. And the character is just, some people didn't know if it was multiple personalities, mental health issue, depression, or demonic. as you can see with the Fiend, they had the whole demonic thing with the circle resurrecting him and shit like that. And how does a regular man survive a fire? So it's like it's a mix between depression, maybe, in my opinion, what I felt like the characters were is depression, mental health, and something more paranormal. And I think some people don't like that in the wrestling business because you don't want that. But at the end of the day, wrestling is about telling a story. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, the Undertaker was kind of like that at first, and then eventually it kind of like changed after that. But, you know what I'm saying? The inspiration, I think one of his inspirations, he says, was Undertaker, and then Waylon Mercer, and then Mick Foley was one of his other inspiration, of course, because look at Mick Foley. He had 3 different personalities. He had Dude Love, Cactus Jack, Mankind, Mick Foley, whatever. 4, basically. Himself. Then you had Mankind, then you had the good Mankind, then you had the bad Mankind, and then you had, Dude Love, and then you had Cactus Jack. You know what I'm saying? And then Bray Wyatt, he had the multiple, he had the Eater of Worlds, he had Husky Harris, but that was just a regular character, but then he came out with the Bray Wyatt. You know what I mean? The cult leader, Bray Wyatt, the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt, which is the same thing. And then all of a sudden, then he came with the Fiend, with the Firefly Funhouse. And then when he came back after SummerSlam 2022, kind of like this new version of him with blue lights and stuff, like, and then with Uncle Howie. You know what I'm saying? Like, because of all of that, this man inspired so many people to create things, make custom videos, make videos inspired by him, make stories inspired by Bray Wyatt. I've seen other people do impersonations of Bray Wyatt. I've seen, I think was it 2 different women on YouTube who played the character of Sister Abigail. Like, this dude inspired a lot of people to do, you know what I mean? And he had people talking. He had people debating, like, questioning, like, what is this character? Is it something that's paranormal or fucking demonic or spiritual, or is it just a different personality to where he escapes and he becomes something that is unstoppable? Hence where when he was the Fiend, you can't pin him because he just doesn't stay down. He kicks out. You can't be beaten. Only certain people could beat him. And then people had the people would have what can I say, like, like what is it? Gosh, like hidden things about, like, why did Bray lose to Goldberg? What was where his power's not working or some shit, like, or people because of Goldberg beating Bray and Roman beating Bray and Strowman in 2020. It's like people created their own thing to where it's like if you're really afraid of this thing, the fear is gonna make you lose. But Goldberg and Roman weren't afraid of Bray, of the Fiend, so that's why the Fiend's powers didn't work. So this is how good he was. He made people go on the internet and fucking create their own, like, make their own idea of what Bray is doing. And you didn't know if it was real or not because he didn't tell you. So, like, this is the level of creativity that he had, and it was so good that people were so, hooked on it. I was hooked on it. And it made me create something that, I wish I was just more active on it, but I wasn't because, I'm sorry if you guys see me itching. I do not do drugs. I was outside relaxing, and that's a big mistake doing that out here. Obviously, these mosquitoes got to me. So, but I swear I do not do drugs. And people were just hooked on it. You feel what I'm saying? And I try to create something like a side piece, like a a different version of it, you know, and mixed it up with some of my video game inspirations. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and if you watched one of the things on the Firefly Funhouse, he said I just took down a reptilian base or some shit like that, right? And we all know that theory. Well, some people think it's a theory, some people don't think it's a theory. I don't know. You believe what you want to believe, okay? The theory of the reptilians, right? And aliens running the world and shapeshifters and blah blah blah. He mentioned that the reptilians coming into your house, they're gonna take your family, and some people were like, "Oh, maybe he's feeding into that, you know, that conspiracy theory and, you know, kind of twisting it up, you know, to show that he's crazy or whatever." I don't know, but that's what I did, and I took that inspiration. I said, "Oh," because I've heard people talk about that. So I said, "What if I made that?" I took that and said, "This is who we are. We built the world for you, and you humans, you hybrid creatures, and blah blah blah." That's why I say that in the Wyatt Foundation page and talk about stuff like that. It's just me trying to, like, you know, do something different and have people like, wow. You know, and I practiced these characters. Look at Randall Wyatt. I try to do something different, but inspired by Randy Orton. And that's what I call Randall Wyatt, because when Randy Orton was in the Wyatt family back in, I think, late 2016, early 2017, I was like, I liked it. Because everybody knows Randy Orton had that fucking, you know, he had that anger issue. And he's like, "I'm the legend killer. You can't," you know, he gets fucking furious. And then Bray Wyatt, I mean, people tell me that they always loved how I impersonated the cult leader Bray Wyatt. You know, my boy Big Izzy, shout outs to you. You've always sending me some positive feedback and love when I made my videos. And you always told me I need to work on my Firefly Funhouse, Bray. But you told me, yo, cult leader Bray Wyatt, that's all you. Because I practiced the hell out of it. I've always loved practicing accents when I was in high school, because I loved acting. And, you know, growing up how I grew up, y'all know the story already. I grew up with a whole bunch of different cultures. And I would practice, you know, that typical, you know, Latino accent. But, well, of course that varies too. But, like, you know, Tony Montana, like the Cuban, Puerto Rican, Dominican accents. Like, I try to practice that. And I try to practice, like, the Central American, you know, and then the Southern accent. And then, of course, the Greek accent, Italian accent, the British accent, Australian accent. Even though some of those accents I'm still not that great with, at least I try to practice it, right? And, of course, Jamaican. I grew up with it. You done know. I feel like my shit is maybe like 90%. My Greek accent, I could do it. You know, I've always loved doing stuff like that. So when he came out with that character, I felt like you had a lot of wrestlers doing that Southern gimmick, but they always did the redneck, you know, over there and this here and here. They always do that. Every time you tell, you know, they always do that character. But Bray did the fucking Bayou. He said, "You don't want to mess with me." He did the non-rhotic Southern accent. You know what I'm saying? So I loved it. And I thought it was something different. And what was crazy, the reason why I fell in love with it, it was like I was hearing that accent. I'm like, yo, I love how he does it. It's like that old school kind of like Louisiana accent. Nobody else does it. You know what I'm saying? Even when you tell people to do a Southern accent, they do the typical hard R Southern accent. They don't do the non-rhotic, which means dropping the R. You know, Bayou style or certain parts of the South accent. They don't do it. And while I was falling in love with Bray Wyatt's character, I actually like started playing The Suffering again. And there's a character in The Suffering in the jail thing, and he kind of spoke like Bray Wyatt. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I was like, oh shit. And then all of a sudden it kind of made me like practice. I was like, for some reason, I don't know. It was like maybe God's plan for me to like hear that and then say, yo, I want to practice Bray Wyatt's character. You know what I mean? And get deep down into it. You know what I'm saying? This is a sad day. Well, it's gonna be a sad time. Um, you know, a lot of people are gonna, man, this is gonna be talked about for a long time. You know, like I said, young, 36. You know, and I think WWE said that they were bringing him back. They had plans, and you know, it just sucks to hear this, man. Like, it's like I feel like I didn't have. I'm one of those guys where I don't feel like I have a favorite of anything. I just love the art of wrestling. I just love wrestling in general. But the character that he came up with made me glued to it. Like every time he came out, like I wanted to make sure like I saw it. And if I missed that SmackDown, I go on YouTube to watch the segment. And then, you know, yeah. Yeah, man, this is terrible. You know, I was watching some of the video of JD from New York just posted, and I agree with some of the stuff he said. I know he said right now he didn't want to say nothing about creative, but that really does piss me off because there was other things that I felt like, you know, he should not have been let go in the first place. But you know, this whole time we thought that it was just WWE being WWE, you know what I'm saying? And they were just doing some weird shit. Meanwhile, he did have an issue. You know, we just didn't know what to believe because we want to see the character and we know how, and we loved everything Bray Wyatt did. You know, and I feel like some people maybe misunderstand. People are like, oh, he needs privacy, but a lot of fans didn't know, in my opinion, that this was happening, because sometimes WWE might say something and then it's the other, okay? And I'm not saying they're bad, but I'm just saying, like, we've seen a lot of good things come out and good things happen in WWE and characters developing and them just completely destroying something that was good. We've seen it happen. So in my opinion, this is the reason why a lot of people are coming off frustrated and upset, because we've seen it happen so many times where you had something good and you know you had something good, but you ruined it. And God knows how bad, how terrible we didn't know if you guys did or say something to Windham Rotunda to just fucking break his heart or some shit, bro. You know what I mean? You have a guy that people were buying his shit, buying his merchandise. People were fucking hooked to his story. Like I said, making videos on YouTube, creating content inspired by Bray Wyatt, and coming up with their own ideas of the story by Bray Wyatt. And you basically fired the guy in 2020 or 2021, and when you brought him back, we didn't know what the fuck what the deal was. So it's like we didn't know what was going on, and we had seen it happen so many times with other characters or other wrestlers that they had something good going for them, and you completely ruined it because it wasn't going as you planned. So, you know, I know some people might be angry, but at the end of the day, we still, like Triple H said, respect the privacy of the families, of his family. You know, well, I know he has kids from his first and second marriage. and there's media. I don't know. I can't even find the words. But yeah, this is very sad, and all I can say is, yeah, my condolences to a wrestler, a person, a father, a son, a husband, a brother. You know what I mean? Bo Dallas is his brother. You know, hopefully, well, yeah, you know, yeah, rest in peace to. Oh man, I just lost my train of fucking thinking. Forgot what I was gonna say, but wow, yeah, this shit hit me. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, and you know, I've created content inspired by Bray, so yeah, I guess the best thing we could do is just respect the privacy, and the only thing we can do is just send our deepest condolences and prayers to his family. That's it. So, yeah, we're gonna miss him. You know what I'm saying? But after this happening, I got to step up my shit and create some more content for my Wyatt Foundation page. So yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching. And yeah, rest in peace, Bray.